Hey, didn't see you guys there. Just enjoying my coffee. So today I want to talk about my journey in the Philippines from my very first day hopping off the plane until today, 5 years later, and I want to look at some of the big picture things about the Philippines that have impacted me. I want to talk about people, my thoughts about them, money, work, and I want to talk about things like dating over here in the Philippines, and if my thoughts have stayed the same or if they've changed or evolved over time. So first things first, people. When I first came over here in the Philippines, hopping off that plane, the first thing I noticed just walking through the airport was how kind, helpful people appeared to be. They wanted to grab my bags. They wanted to see if I needed a taxi. They all just seemed ready to go, ready to support me, help me out with whatever I needed. And I just had overwhelming feelings of just joy and just really amazed by the people here, what a different experience it was compared to other Western countries that I've lived, like the US or Australia. Here, people just seem so friendly, smiley, warm, welcoming, and I immediately loved it. As I was, driving on the taxi to the condo that I'd rented out on Airbnb in Cebu City, I was drinking in all of the sights. I saw some beautiful areas. I saw some pretty rundown areas. I saw people working and driving and walking and living their everyday lives. And I just could kind of wonder what it would be like here as I got to know people more and more. So fast forward 5 years on. I just got back from Davao City, back into Cebu City, and now I'm pretty well seasoned over here in the Philippines. I have a very long way when it comes to truly, deeply understanding Filipino culture, like through the experience, through the eyes of a Filipino. But I think that on the whole, I've really learned so much over that time. So now, fast forward, take that same picture that I had 5 years ago in 2019, and now I hop off the plane, I'm walking through the airport, I still see all the same people there. They want to grab my bags with me, they want to offer taxis with me, but I have different thoughts going through my head now. First thing I think is, if I give these people my bags, they're going to charge me for that. They're not just helping me with that. That's a service that people are there to provide, and who knows what they're going to ask me. I also know that those same people in the airport are going to charge me more than any other taxi outside of the airport would. And so I just know to kindly say, no thanks. Thanks, but no thanks. I don't want your taxi inside of the airport because that's going to cost 3 times what it would if I just walked to the white taxi outside of the airport. So as you can see, my thoughts over here are a little bit more like someone that's lived over here for a while. When I first came over here, and I think this is the experience of so many expats that come to the Philippines, they are at first just like overwhelmed by people's kindness and politeness and hospitality and how warm and welcoming and helpful they appear to be. And that is really Filipinos to foreigners. Are Filipinos always like that to Filipinos? You have to ask Filipinos what they think, but most of them that I talk to say not as much towards fellow Filipinos. They're mostly more like that to foreigners, and often there might be a transaction involved in that. So transactional relationships, not transactional relationships. If you watch other YouTube videos of people over here, often people will say they really think that relationships over here are transactional, especially when it comes to dating, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But what do I think about all these things 5 years on? I gotta say, for me, I think it's a bit of both. I think that Filipinos truly are incredibly warm and welcoming and hospitable. They are helpful. I mean, if you ever really have a difficult situation, Filipinos are really there in any way that they can to help out. And on the other hand, I think that sometimes being in a developing country means that people are trying to figure out their own life, figuring out how they're going to pay their bills. And sometimes that could turn relationships a little bit transactional. However, if I really look at things through the eyes of someone also that is a business owner over here, these guys are just trying to make a living. This is their job. And listen, for me, if I could make a bit of extra money here or there, I would do the very same thing as well. So I think that expats over here really need to put themselves in the shoes of Filipinos here and really see what they're trying to do. I think on the whole, that whenever Filipinos have the opportunity to show hospitality, warmness, kindness, it's something that is just so natural out of them. I think the transactional side of things can make people, myself included, a bit jaded at times, but it's really important to just kind of step back from time to time, see the big picture, understand that people are motivated in different contexts to do different things. And it really takes time in the Philippines or any country that you may be in to really develop true, sincere, deep relationships that are reciprocal, built on mutual trust, kindness, and the like. So when I first came over here, I noticed that things are done just a little bit different. People move on their own time. People joke around about Filipino time, which is no joke. It is definitely a real thing. Same as when I lived in Hawaii years back. There was islander time there, very common over here as well. There is everyday life things here, standing in lines at the grocery market, standing in lines everywhere, and setting time for appointments. We're going to meet at 7 p.m. And then what that actually turns out to be in reality, all of those little things over here when I first came to the Philippines were things that, I gotta say, really didn't bother me at all. If I step back in 2019, if I had to wait a bit longer, I was just observant. I could remember even just standing outside, looking at all the jeepneys. There was Catholic jeepney, there was Spider-Man jeepney, there was SpongeBob jeepney. Everything was just amazing. So even if I was just waiting there for what was going to happen next, even if people were showing up late or I was stuck here or there, it was all just exciting because for me, I'm a bit adventurous at heart. I love experiencing new cultures, meeting new people, drinking in different. I actually really love different. And so the Philippines was different in so many wonderful, exciting ways. And so when I first came here, those things didn't really bother me. Now that I've been here in the Philippines, a lot of those type of things are just part of everyday life. So a little bit of the luster of those things have worn off. However, when it comes to patience and being around Filipinos all the time and seeing how amazingly patient they are, it's really helped me to also become an incredibly patient person myself. I am actually less patient than I was 5 years ago. And that's because I'm a dang foreigner and I'm used to everything happening like that. I really wish that I could say that living here for 5 years made me more patient, but I think that it's actually made me even less patient because it's just like death by 1,000, cuts over here. And so I do wake up every morning, not really, but I do tell myself often that I just need to be more patient. And that is true. And these are things that I really do admire about the culture over here. I wish that I was the kind of person like Filipinos are that just don't make a big thing out of small things. And it's something that I'm just being real with you guys. I think I am worse at now than 5 years ago. I used to think of myself as more of a patient person. And I think that's just because in my own culture, I was more on the patient side. But being in a culture where people are truly patient, truly accommodating, truly don't sweat the small stuff, truly are able to live with lower expectations, even if they want more, they're just able to accommodate that more. Just still not that guy as much as I wish I was. Maybe I am still more than other expats. I mean, there's some expats that come over here, they're like, peace out, Philippines. I need to find a country that just moves a bit quicker, it's more efficient, has better infrastructure. And I'm not that guy. I still absolutely love the Philippines. This is still so much a place that I want to live and do life. It's a place that I'm so grateful to be. So for all the Filipinos that want to leave me negative comments and saying, dude, go back to America if you're not happy here and if you got things to complain about, I understand you, but can you also be patient with me like you're patient in the bank line? Because it takes a while sometimes for us foreigners to adjust to life in the Philippines and how things are a bit different, even if, like myself, we truly love it here so much. Another huge thing over here is just really looking at relationships. When I first came here to the Philippines, big part of that was for a relationship that ended in divorce. And it was also for starting a business over here. Now I have more than one. And so both of those things have evolved over the time. But when it comes to relationships in particular, I know that's what so many expats come over here for. They want to find a wonderful Filipina. That's something that has also evolved over time. So when I came over here, I was absolutely amazed by how wonderful Filipinas are. And 5 years on, I still feel that way. Actually, I still feel that the Philippines is a wonderful place to come and meet a great partner. However, I also just see now that it takes time, and I should have known this because it does in my own country too, but perhaps even more so over here when you're meeting somebody and developing a relationship cross-culturally, it takes time to truly get to know somebody deeply. So I think that I see some of the red flags in potential relationships much earlier on than I did 5 years ago. And I could really see that there's just diversity in Filipinos. Who would have thunk it? But, it was a little bit naive of me at the beginning to think that all Filipinos were the same. Nobody in any culture is all the same. And I would say that 5 years on, I really know a lot more of the type of person that I'm looking for. And if I'm real, I'm still just figuring out some of those things as well as I go. But I really see that it just takes time to truly get to know somebody over here. And so out of everything, this is probably the thing that has remained most constant for me, is I still think this is a great place to meet a partner. However, not necessarily for everybody. Now, as mentioned, apart from a relationship, the other reason why I came over here to the Philippines in 2019 was to incorporate my Purple Cow business over here, which is a business process outsource agency focused on digital marketing, software development, and other virtual assistants over here. And when I first came over here, I was also just super excited to get started with things, but zero experience running a business in the Philippines. That said, I had a lot of virtual assistants that were working in the Philippines that I'd worked with while I was still in California. And at one time, my digital marketing manager, my social media manager, my video marketing manager in my California office were all Filipinos living in California at the time. So it was something that was new in terms of living over here, working with Filipinos in their own country, out of an office here, but it wasn't 100% new to me. Fast forward 5 years on, I've also had a couple of small restaurant businesses over here, and recently I started a business process outsourcing company focused on outsourcing nurses and non-nurses with healthcare experience to doctors' offices and hospitals in the US. Pretty excited about that. So how do I feel 5 years on with business over here? The biggest thing I would have to say is that it is a different culture over here in every way, including work culture. So I will often have expats that say, I'd love to start a business in the Philippines. You got experience to that? Let me know what you think. And sometimes they'll get in touch with me through my consultancy link that's in the description below if you guys ever want any help with that. And one of the things that I often ask them is, do you plan on moving to the Philippines to start the business, or do you plan on running that from your own country? If they say that they're going to move over here, I have a lot of advice that I could give them about how to lead, how to manage, how to run a company here in the Philippines. But if they say they're going to do it from a distance, I often will caution them about how challenging it could be to run a business from afar. You definitely need a very trusted person here in the Philippines to, in person, out of an office, oversee people. And even then, there's still a lot of challenges over here. All of that said, I really do believe that the Philippines has a lot of business opportunity over here. In some ways, it's the Wild West. In some ways, there's just so much that people here would love that's not over here yet. And so a lot of my energy that I focus on startups over here is really looking at things that the Philippines needs but doesn't yet have. As a bit of an aside, my original channel, American Entrepreneur in the Philippines, is really focused on helping people that want to do business in the Philippines know how to do that. And I am always available through that link mentioned below to do consultancy work and to help you if you're interested in starting a business over here or even considering it. So 5 years on, what do I think overall? Well, I'm here, and there is absolutely nowhere else that I still would want to be than the Philippines. It's just my home. It's somewhere that feels comfortable. Is there challenges? Yep. Is there things that I don't like? Is it somewhere that I could see myself living forever? Yeah. So I gotta say, with all of the challenges, with all the ups and downs, with my rose-colored glasses that I came here with in 2019, looking a bit clearer these days, it's still somewhere with all of the beautiful mess over here that I am ever so grateful to live. I love Filipinos. I love the country over here, and I'm grateful to be a guest in this country. If you've lived over here, let me know your guys' thoughts. Is it somewhere that you think you could live forever? What are the things that have changed in your mind over time? I would definitely love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. As always, guys, thanks for taking the time. Talk to you soon.